Hey YouTube, AJ here, and we're in the big garage today. Gonna give my Jeep Tigger some love. Why Tigger? Because he's all orange and black, and he's bouncy, trouncy, bouncy, pouncy, and lots of fun. Okay. Anyway, so basically what we're gonna do here, I'm getting ready to go on at the end of the month, making a road trip up to Ohio. Tigger needs new tires. And not only does he need new tires, he's going to get bigger tires, so I'm going to put in a front end leveling lift. So let's get to it. Okay, I'm using the Rugged Off-Road front leveling kit. It's basically 2.5-inch spacers. Instructions. The 2 metal steel spacers, basically donuts that go in the top of your suspension tower, and basically space the control arm further down to get you. The idea is so the Jeep doesn't tilt forward anymore. It sits more level like an older Jeep, because the newer Jeeps have kind of a factory rake built into them, or I don't know, handling looks, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to space the front end of mine back up a little bit. I don't want a full lift. I'm not going with crazy sized tires. I'm going to go, these are 31s, and I'm going to 33s. So I'm not going super crazy on getting bigger tires. So anyway, we gotta put this thing on jack stands. Well, first break all these lugs loose, put it on jack stands, and start taking things apart. Okay, while I break these lugs free here, I guess I should give a disclaimer that this is not a full step-by-step how-to video, nor am I responsible for your safety should you decide to do this kind of project, or your results. I'm not responsible for them either. Y'all are grown-ups. Takes time to learn these things. I will say I have my emergency brake on. I don't have the wheels chocked. Maybe I should. I probably will before I go much further. But I will take steps to ensure my safety along the way. And you should too, should you attempt to do this on your own. Okay, so under the driver's side here, got a few things we gotta loosen, remove to make this work. Gonna have to take loose this lower shock mount, the brake line here. Just loosen this from the frame so it has some room to droop, because we need this. We need the suspension, the front wheel suspension element to droop down in order to take out this spring. And that spacer goes up in there. So at this point, I don't know if I'll need to loosen this link. This is this sway bar link. I may or may not be able to get away without having to do that. We're gonna try to do it without taking it free, but we're gonna start from there. Okay, as you saw, I did have to take the track bar loose in order to get my suspension to droop far enough down to remove that spring. You see, I barely had enough room to get the spring in at the height I had it. It's a Point taken. Next, on the other side, I got to put the jack stands up a little higher, at least one more notch. So anyway, so it's in there now. One thing you have to make sure of is this little divot here in the bottom mount for the spring. The end of your spring needs to go into that little pocket. That's what holds the spring from twisting. See, it's out of it now. It's got to get back in there. I'm gonna have to put it down. I might have to put the camera down to get both hands on it again to put it back. But anyway, yeah, so the spacer's in, spring's back in. Now we reverse the process to put it this side back together. Okay, so that's all back together. Tighten back down my sway bar, both ends. Got the spacer up here, my spring. As I was doing this, I remembered I wanted to take a measurement for my bumper height out here, before and after. I totally forgot to do that. That's the way these things go sometimes. Got my brake line back on. Got my rear shock mount tightened back, or my bottom shock mount tightened back up. So it's all good. Put the wheel back on now. I know you may have seen me struggling trying to find wrenches and stuff. It turns out this and the shock mount were 18 millimeter. And I've got no 18 millimeter sockets apparently. My sockets all go from 17 to 19. 3/4 SAE is a little sloppy. So I don't know if, like most people, you don't have 18 millimeter sockets in their socket sets, but anyway, I have one 18 millimeter wrench, and yeah, so I was having to use a 3/4 to hold with and the 18 to tighten and loosen with, so made things a little more difficult. Anyway, let's get the wheel back on it and get to the other side. Okay, so the wheel's on. It's just snugged down. I haven't torqued it yet. At the end, when I get the other side done, I'll break out my torque wrench and I'll torque all the nuts to spec. I don't know if you can see my tread. I mean, I got a little bit of life left in them, but not a lot. Yeah, so they got 50,000 miles on them. You can see the outside of this one's wearing pretty good. And that's not even, this one's not too bad, but it's still wearing. But all of them need replaced. So anyway, can't really tell from that view, I don't think. Let's see if it measures any different. Let's measure. Get 27.5 at the bumper there. Of course. And 27 there, but I assume both sides came up some. You know, this side came up more than that one when I did it. What's it at out at the edge of the 32 at the end of the edge of the fender flare. 31.5. So right now there's a 1/2 inch difference from side to side. I mean, if I stand back, I don't know if the camera really shows it well, but if I stand back, I can definitely tell the Jeep is tilted to the passenger side down. So anyway, I wish I would have taken the measurement before I started, but all right, well, let's quit talking about it and get to working again. All right, I have watched several YouTube videos on how to do this, and no one has yet to mention the problem that I just ran into. On this side, just loosening the brake line up here did not give me enough droop to get my spring out. And I noticed that this line was getting really, really tight and pulling, much too hard for my liking. So I raised it back up and I got to looking, and there's this bracket right here behind the shock mount under the spring perch. And there was one 10 millimeter bolt that was holding it. And then this end pulls out, and it's on a tab on that side over there that you have to take out. And I might not be able to do this one-handed with the camera, but I'm gonna have to put the camera down to do this. But anyway, I need to pull this bracket, the whole, leave everything attached and just pull the bracket out of this tab slot and then raise it up here so to give it room to drop. But no other video I've watched has had any trouble with that. And I don't know if they just stretched the lines or what, but I did not like the way they were stretching. So my personal opinion, that should be loosened and removed too, so you got more, you can take all this slack out of this loop here and give it plenty of room to drop. So that might be the key takeaway from my entire video. That might be the big thing you learn from my video that you might not learn from others. Back to the game here. Okay, as you see there, I was having a little trouble getting the spring in. Had to get a little creative, use my tire irons to give me some leverage to push it up and pop it in over the bottom spring pad. But did anyone out there in YouTube land catch the mistake I made on the other side that I now have to go back and take it apart and redo it? No? Yes? Maybe? Some of you shaking your heads? I can tell you what I did. I didn't realize it until I got over here. Up here is this rubber isolator here. I forgot to take that out before I put in my spacer. So we're over there, where this is correct on this side, it's spacer, isolator, spring. Over there, it is isolator, spacer, spring. So I now have the joy of going back and putting this stick back together and then going over there, taking that all apart and switching these two. Oh, well, it wouldn't be one of my projects if something like this didn't happen. All right, so that one's snug down. Let's see, how's it look? Still got to replace this side of the driver's side, change it. Anybody remember what I said? I don't remember what it was. Have to go back 27.5, I think. So it's almost up to 28.25 now. Yeah, same thing here, 28.25. But again, I gotta take this side all apart, switch that spacer and the rubber isolator around. Oh, the joys of being me. All right, lugs are all torqued to spec. Front end definitely looks higher to me, but I drive it a lot, so I I see it and you can't see the whole thing like I can, but looks like it's sitting higher to me. At the bumper height, it is now not quite 28.5 on this side. It's an eighth short of that. Showing 28 on this side, so it's kind of lopsided, but that'll probably take a moment to wear in. After some bouncing, this side's at 28, and this side's at 28. So now it's level, both sides. I figured that's what the case was, it just hadn't settled yet. But hard to tell from here, but to me, yeah, looking at it with my eyes, it definitely looks like it's higher, and it does sit flat, more level. It doesn't have the nosedive it used to. So overall, I'm happy. Okay, so overall, I wouldn't rate this job as that difficult to do. Took me around 2 hours, and that's with having to redo one side, basically doing the job 1.5 times. Second time did go a lot faster, but you know, but difficulty, I did it all pretty much with hand tools. I only had one place I could really get my electric impact in to help me speed the nut on and off. I didn't even use it to break free the fastener. I just used it to speed the nut off and on. Being able to get an impact, if you had a stubby impact or even a air ratchet, that would speed things up quite a bit. Being able to use those to spin the shock bolts, the nuts off the shock mounts, and the sway bar links, because they're pretty long and it takes a while to just sit there and unthread them by hand. Being that they got 50,000 miles on the fastener, so there was some rust on it, and you know, it was a little slow going. But other than that, you know, the job wasn't that difficult. If somebody asked me to help them do this, I'd be willing to help, you know, knowing that I'm not getting into a full day's of work. You know, it's something that can be done in under 2 hours easily. So in the end, you know, I'm glad I tackled it myself. I'm happy. I'm looking forward to getting my bigger 33-inch tires on the Jeep, filling up my wheel wells now. And yeah, not a bad day. So until next time, see ya.